productivity and production. Operations planning consists of the resource management planning activities that are done after the long-term capacity and capability planning decisions have been made. These planning activities are designed to help the firm achieve its long-term strategic initiatives. The nature of these activities is influenced by the structure of the product delivery systems. Productivity of an organization is defined as the ratio of outputs produced by the organization and the resources consumed in the process. Managers also need to pay attention to the total production to make sure that a company is meeting the requirements of products and services required by the customers. In this lesson, we discuss more about this distinction and issues related with them. It follows from the previous slide that after studying this lesson, you should be able to know what is productivity and what is its role in the organization. Define the difference between productivity and production. Know how we can enhance productivity. Know the differences between productivity in manufacturing and service organizations. Explain the design of production system and manufacturing process. List out the factors influencing the choice of production process. Discuss the benefits which a small entrepreneur can reap by having properly designed production planning and control system. As already discussed, productivity signifies the ratio between the input and output with respect to given resources, that is, the ratio of the outputs achieved from an activity to the inputs consumed to make those outputs. This definition, while accurate, does not convey the central role that productivity and productivity improvements have in determining the competitiveness of the organization. Productivity is a multifaceted concept. No single definition can fully describe it. When more is produced with the same expenditure of resources, it may be termed as effectiveness. When the same amount is produced at less cost, it may be termed as efficiency. There are several concepts of productivity. In addition to the single-factor measure of productivity, there are also multi-factor productivity measures. The input or output relationships of the main productivity measures are shown in the table here. There are two basic types of competitive advantage a firm can possess: low cost or differentiation. The two basic types of competitive advantage, combined with the scope of activities for which a firm seeks to achieve them, lead to three internally consistent generic competitive strategies. These strategies are cost leadership strategy, differentiation strategy, and focus strategies. Although labor and multi-factor productivity measures can be informative, they also can be deceptive when applied to a firm at process levels. What is measured and the way in which the processes are managed play a key role in determining productivity improvements. We have to increase the value of output relative to the cost of input. If processes can generate more output of better quality using the same amount of input, productivity increases. Productivity applies equally to the blue-collar workforce as to people doing intellectual work. In many developed countries, blue-collar workers represent a small and declining portion of the workforce, and the dominant workforce is represented by intellectual work in service organizations. This change is explained by a change from a manufacturing to a service-based economy in these countries. The problem presented by this shift is that productivity gains in the service sector have lagged behind gains in the manufacturing sector. Conceptually, productivity is defined as an attitude of mind and prevention of all kinds of waste. When both output and input are expressed in the same unit, productivity reduces to a mere number. Quite often, it is expressed as a percentage of output to input. It is also expressed as OMS, which stands for output per man shift. For better understanding, in an industry, X for example, in a steel plant, it is expressed as 10,000 tons produced per month. National productivity is given as per capita income. Another way of looking at the concept of productivity is to look at the amount of wastage generated in the system. The wastage could be an unnecessary input, a defective output, idling of the resources, etc. If we could measure these wastages and have a measure of the wastage, then it becomes a tool for measuring the efficiency of the inputs called wastivity. Once the entrepreneur has taken the decisions regarding the product design and production processes and system, his next task is to take steps for production planning and control, as this function is essentially required for efficient and economical production. Production planning and control can facilitate the entrepreneurs by optimum utilization of capacity, inventory control, bringing economy in production time and ensuring quality. Production planning and control (PPC) is a process that comprises of the performance of some critical functions on either side, that is, planning as well as control. Various steps in the process include scheduling, production schedule, master schedule, manufacturing schedule, loading, production control, dispatching, follow-up, and inspection. Scheduling mainly concerns with time element and priorities of a job. The main aim of production scheduling is to schedule that amount of work which can easily be handled by plant and equipment without interference. Scheduling usually starts with preparation of master schedule, which is weekly or monthly breakdown of the production requirement for each product for a definite time period. By having this as a running record of total production requirements, the entrepreneur is in a better position to shift the production from one product to another as per the changed production requirements. Manufacturing schedule is prepared on the basis of type of manufacturing process involved. It is very useful where single or few products are manufactured repeatedly at regular intervals. The next step is the execution of the schedule plan as per the route chalked out. It includes the assignment of the work to the operators at their machines or workplaces. So loading determines who will do the work, as routing determines where and scheduling determines when it shall be done. Production control is the process of planning production in advance of operations, establishing the exact route of each individual item part or assembly, setting, starting and finishing for each important item, assembly or the finishing production, and releasing the necessary orders as well as initiating the necessary follow-up to have the smooth function of the enterprise. Dispatching involves issue of production orders for starting the operations. Every production program involves determination of the progress of work, removing bottlenecks in the flow of work, and ensuring that the productive operations are taking place in accordance with the plans. This is mainly to ensure the quality of goods. It can be required as effective agency of production control. Now let us check if we have understood the various concepts discussed in this lesson clearly. Productivity equal to input or output. Right or wrong? Wrong. Wastivity is the time lag between placing an order or getting deliveries. Right or wrong? Wrong. Total factor productivity is year-by-year change in the output where a number of factors are taken into consideration. Right or wrong? Right. Before we end, let us briefly revise what we have studied till so far. Productivity relates output to the quantity of resources or inputs used to produce them. It is basically concerned with how efficiently a certain output of goods and services is produced and the value created by the production process. There are several concepts of productivity. In addition to the single factor measure of productivity, there are also multi-factor productivity measures. Productivity is also used at the national level. Productivity typically is measured as the rupee value of output per unit of labor. Productivity is linked to the competitive strategy of the organization. Corporate strategy and objectives have a major impact in determining the different operational parameters at the corporate level. Small-scale industries have a challenge to manufacture products at economical prices. They need to embrace management principles surrounding production processes which are effective for the products manufactured by them. An upfront planning and study of the critical factors of the manufacturing processes will not only help the small-scale entrepreneurs to understand the steps they need to take in selecting the most appropriate manufacturing process, but also help them identify areas of risk so that necessary control procedures are put in place. This will eventually help the small entrepreneur to eliminate the wastages and increase the productivity and profits.